Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Najwa Hussaini with Azadi News. Bangladesh moves nearly 2,000 Rohingya refugees to remote island. Sesame workshop bets on power of representation with new Rohingya Muppets. 4 Bangladesh Navy ships carrying at least 1,800 Rohingya refugees on Tuesday left the Chattogram port for Bhasanchar Island in the Bay of Bengal amid concerns many of the persecuted refugees were coerced into relocating to the flood-prone island. The Rohingya refugees who have been sheltered in camps in Cox's Bazar since fleeing the 2017 Burmese military's clampdown were taken to Chattogram in buses on Monday. Navy Commodore Abdullah Al-Ma'mun Chaudhry said at least 1,804 Rohingya were being moved in ships to Bhasanchar. "We are ready to receive the new arrivals," he said by telephone from the island. The government insisted that the persecuted refugees want to start new lives on Bhasanchar, where 1,600 others arrived earlier this month. The South Asian nation eventually wants to relocate 100,000 Rohingya to the remote island in a move to decongest the refugee camps which shelter approximately 1 million Rohingya. Housing blocks have been set up for the new arrivals on the island that Foreign Minister A.K. Abdul Mu'min has called a beautiful resort. On Monday, he had put the number of refugees being moved to Bhasanchar at little less than 1,000. But rights activists expressed new doubts about the transfers, saying some Rohingya had found their shanty homes in the camps padlocked, so they had no choice but to go. Al Jazeera's Tanveer Chaudhry said international journalists were not allowed to go to the island. The naval commander in charge said there will be a next batch of refugees, but we don't know exactly when, he said, speaking from Chittagong in the country's south-facing Bay of Bengal. Forget the Oscars, one of the sites where the battle for on-screen representation matters most may be in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, the world's largest refugee camp. 2 new inhabitants are set to take up residence there in the new year, 6-year-old Rohingya twins Noor and Aziz. The difference between them and the 1 million plus Rohingya who have fled state-sponsored violence in neighboring Burma. Noor and Aziz are Muppets developed by the non-profit Sesame Street TV show creator Sesame Workshop. The organization, which has a presence in over 150 countries, created the new characters to help children in Cox's Bazar build key early childhood skills through relatable educational content which will feature them speaking in Rohingya. To help children feel less alone because they can identify with characters is a really powerful way to help them recover and start rebuilding the resilience that they so deserve, Sherry Weston, Sesame Workshop's president of social impact, tells Verity. To create content in which learning is joyful, playful, and actively engaging is one of the most important things we can do to help mitigate the negative effects of trauma they have experienced. She explained that Rohingya children have very little content available to them at all and have never seen themselves depicted in media. For most, this will be the first time that they can truly identify with the characters they are seeing in storybooks and on screen. Sesame tested everything from the girl twin Noor and her brother Aziz's haircuts to their slip-on sandals, for how well each element resonated with local kids, a process that took about a year from conception to completion. The 2 Muppets were conceived as twins so that they could be of opposite sexes but still play together in a culturally appropriate manner, all while modeling very clear gender equity in a culture where girls tend to take on more caregiving and household work. At age 6, the twins are old enough to problem solve independently but still engage naturally with caregivers. Sesame plans to reflect the fact that many Rohingya children do not live with their biological parents by including Elmo's parents as aunt and uncle type figures. Storylines are being designed to help kids work through past trauma, including plots about how Noor is afraid of loud noises and Aziz is afraid of the dark. We want to build resilient skills, and this allows us to show the ways that they support and reassure one another when one is stressed, Weston says. Despite a huge body of research on the general importance of early childhood education, there remains a significant gap in knowledge around what types of interventions work in humanitarian contexts for children like the Rohingya, who are on the move or displaced and may be for many years to come. We don't really know what works for children in such settings, admits Anita Anastasio, head of the Play to Learn initiative at the Lego Foundation, a key funder of the Bangladesh project. She estimates that about half of refugees in Cox's Bazar are children under the age of 18 and a quarter are below the age of 6. Humanitarian aid has historically focused on children's survival, health, and nutrition rather than their ability to thrive and develop key cognitive skills, meaning that there were until recently few interventions even available to study. Observing families that are frequently on the move also made it difficult to conduct rigorous research. Despite the challenges, LEGO is investing heavily so as to research, test, and better document interventions, notes Anastasio. Media content is more crucial than ever. The question is how to make it playful, culturally relevant, and add that component of designing stories where you don't just see kids playing, but playing as they learn numbers, interact, and problem solve, she explains. Sesame's content will be integrated into existing early learning centers run in partnership with relief organization BRAC and the International Rescue Committee. Colorful tents set up at Cox's Bazar where volunteers offer postnatal care and other group sessions to help children grow mentally, socially, and creatively. The pandemic, however, has made such in-person outreach strategies impossible, posing the question of how best to distribute newly developed content in the months to come. Unlike populations in other crisis areas like the Middle East, few Rohingya have access to TV. The Bangladeshi government also restricts access to mobile phones and internet for those in the camps, although it has eased its policy slightly under international pressure during the pandemic. This is today's news. To get more updates about Rohingya, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. Visit our website azadinews.org and follow our social media accounts. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.